animal farming, um, principles of plant production. First, we have the historical perspectives. Early humans were primarily hunters and gatherers, but with the growth of population, they faced challenges in meeting the increasing demand for food. To address this, humans transitioned to domesticating and cultivating crops, marking the beginning of crop production practices around 9,000 years ago. Roles of early farmers made key observations that led to improved cultural methods of crop production. They noticed that plants thrived under specific conditions. One, they noticed that plants thrive under enriched soil with manure, broken limestone, and ash. Two, they noticed that crops thrive under deep, dark, and well watered soils. Three, crops need environments free of weeds. Four, crop rotations where certain crop rotations, where certain crops followed others. And that the essential features of crop production, the fundamental aspect of crop production have remained consistent since the inception of cultivation practices. These features include one, gathering and preserving seeds of desired plants. Two, clearing lands from unwanted vegetation. Three, preparing the land to create a suitable seedbed with contemporary practices like zero tillage. Yeah. Uh, of course, before you start crop production, there's certain features that you need to ensure are in place. One, you need to ensure that you have your seeds where you've gathered them, and then you need to ensure the land where you're going to plant these crops is cleared from unwanted vegetation, and then you also prepare this land suitable for seed beds. Yeah. And then planting, you ensure you plant at the right time or seasons. Protecting crops against natural threats. You should be able to protect these crops against natural threats. You should be able to put in place with control measures. And then harvesting, processing, and storing agricultural products. You should know how you're going to harvest your products, how you're going to process them and store them before even starting the process of production. And then crop classification. Classifying crop plants is essential for better comprehension and appreciation. Crop classification varies based on specific purposes and botanical characteristics, making it challenging to create a single classifying crops. Crop classification serves various purposes, including one, understanding soil and water requirements for different crops. It helps you understand soil locals and water requirements for different crops. It helps you in assessing crop adaptability, how best a crop fits and maybe with specific conditions, area, and all that is suitable for the crop growth. It helps in identifying crop growth habits. It helps in recognizing climatic requirements, like with temperature suitable, moisture levels, and all that. It also helps in evaluating economic yield and uses of crop plants. Economic yield, of course, like the profits you get out, the demand in the market, what you're going to plant, is it highly demanded, and all that. If you plant on large scale, you do get something. And then determining growing seasons and cultivation conditions. Types of classification. There are two primary types of classification. One is the botanical classification, which categorizes plants based on their parts, similarities, starting from kingdom to variety. Two is the field crop classification, places crops into categories like grasses and legumes. And a list of important crop families. Several crop families are significant in agriculture. Walnuts, cowpeas, dry beans, and we have the Graminia opoaceae, which includes wheat, barley, and maize. We have Cruciferia obrassicaceae, which includes cabbage, mustard, and rape. We have Solanaceae, which includes potato, tomatoes, eggplants, pepper, and tobacco. And then we have Compositia, which includes sunflower, safflower, Jerusalem, artichoke. And we have Malvasia, which includes cotton, Convolvulaceae, which includes sweet potatoes, Cucurbitaceae, which includes cucumber, pumpkin, squash, watermelon, and gourds. We have the Cannabacea, which includes hemp, Linaceae, which includes flax, Uphobiacea, which includes the castor bean. Yeah, and then classification based on origin. Indigenous plants, plants native to a specific area originated there naturally. Yeah, based on origin, we have in this plant specific area introduced from other regions into a new area. And then we have the domesticated plants. These are exotic plants that have been selectively cultivated in a specific region and are now common. And these domesticated plants actually are exotic plants. These are plants that came from a different region, but now the where it has been introduced, the community has like taken up. Yeah, they have taken up. It has become like an indigenous plant, but it's not an indigenous plant. It's a what? It's an exotic plant. Example includes the maize. Then Vavilov centers of origin. Nicolia Vavilov's research identified geographic areas of centers of origin for specific crops, such as China for soybean and Central Africa for maize. Yes, examples of these are plants that we Africans have already domesticated, but they originated from different areas. E.g., maize originated from Central America, and soybean originated from China. And then classifications based on water requirements. We have the hydrophytes, plants adapted to aquatic environment or water saturated soils, e.g. the paddy rice. And then we have the xerophytes, plants requiring minimal water, can thrive in dry soils for extended periods. They have adaptations for water conservation like fleshy leaves. Only some common crops fall into this category. And then we have the halophytes. These plants are capable of growing in salt-rich soils, including certain barley cultivators. And we have the mesophytes. They're intermediate plants in terms of water use, able to tolerate brief water-saturated conditions, but sensitive to extreme dryness. Most feed crops belong to this category. These mesophytes, they can handle slightly no water and slightly dry conditions. Then classifications based on life cycle. We have one annuals, plants completing their life cycle in one season, reproducing through seeds. Most feed crops are annuals. Yeah, they take around let's say 2 to 8 months. And then winter annuals, these crops utilizing two growing seasons, germinating in fall, surviving the winter, maturing in spring, and dying in summer. And then we have the biennials. Biennials, these plants requiring 2 years to complete their life cycle, with vegetative growth in the first year and flowering, seed production and death in the second year. And then we have the perennials, plants with indefinite lifespan, ranging from a few to many years. Some perennials die back to the soil surface in winter and regrow in spring, while others, like trees and shrubs, add new growth annually. Some crops exhibit perennial growth in specific climates and annual growth in others. Yeah, this one's take more than based on their intended use. Yeah, like cereal crops, small grains, grain legumes or pulses. We have the oil crops, the root crops, sugar crops. We have sugar crops, fiber crops, rubber crops, forage crops, pasture crops, hay crops. And then classification based on special use or purpose. Crops with special uses. Some crops serve unique purposes in agriculture based on their intended use. The cover crops, grown to shield soil from wind and water erosion. Some cover crops can be plowed into the soil to enhance its quality, becoming green manure crops. Examples include the rye, vetch, crimson clover, and various grass grasses. And then too, we have the catch or emergency crops. They are planted when the primary crop fails or planting is delayed, allowing for quicker maturity. Examples include the safflower and dried beans, typically with short growth durations. These catch emergency crops they are planted when maybe the first plant you're planning to plant or you don't have the seeds around or that deal actually fails. So you instead of leaving the land for that season to go just like that, you plant an emergency or catch crops. And then next is the companion crops. They are planted alongside the main crop to aid its establishment. For instance, spring oats may be seeded with cotton. Then we have the trap crops. They are planted to attract specific pests, then plowed under or eliminated once they have served their purposes. For example, we have the cotton. They may be used as a trap to crop to manage certain weeds. Yeah. These ones are just planted together with the target plants so they can divert the interest or the attention of the weeds and pests towards themselves. And then green manure crops, grown and incorporated into the soil while still green and succulent to improve soil conditions. Examples include the cowpea, lablab, and sahel. Thank you. That's all about lecture one. Hi, Samara. Hello. Hello.
Yes, please.